Sayyada Tahira, Sayyada Tahira, Sayyada Tahira, Sayyada Tahira, Sayyada Tahira.
Started staring at him and gazing at him continuously. What's that? To look at your father, ordinary father, out of love, out of respect, out of affection, it's ibadah. More so if the father is a respected person, an alim, for example. Absolutely so if the father is a prophet and the best of the prophets. Qanini, sabahu. If it is an act of ibadah, it means that it is kamalihi wa kamalihi. And then I noticed something. His face was shining brilliantly. How do I explain to you? Have you seen the Badr? The Badr is the moon of the 14th night. No. Tamam wa kamal. 13th night, 14th night, 15th night. A bright, full moon, uncovered by any clouds or haze. Absolutely brilliant, surrounded by darkness. A miraculous appearance, a metaphorical reference, or no, literally there was nur showering from his face. Possible. فَمَا كَانَتْ إِلَّا السَّاعَةِ. A while passed away. وَإِذَا بِوَلَدِيَ الْحَسَنِ قَدْ أَقْبَلَ. So obviously if Hassan alayhi salam could come in a short while, that means they must have been near around. The Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam normally, usually, if circumstances allowed them, they chose to stay near the house of the Prophet, and it's a pretense. But if it is genuine, if it's true, it's authentic, it must be expressed. What's the haq to express it? The Imam did it. فَقُلْتُ وَعَلَيْكَ السَّلَامِ يَا قُرَّةَ عَيْنِي وَثَمَرَةَ فُؤَادِي. And I also replied to him, Salam on you, Hassan. No. Salam on you, my light and my delight. The light of my eyes and the delight of my heart. You want one secret of training children to actualize their potential? Praise them. You want to raise them to be good? Praise them when they do good. Motivate them, stimulate them, make them feel loved, make them feel confident therefore. Acknowledge their good work, push them to achieve better. Affirm who they are, pious and righteous. Make them aim high. And of course if they fail to achieve, support them. Of course, but on the other side be careful, don't praise too much. Or don't praise in a fake, unreal manner. You use the wrong message. It makes them feel overconfident then. And that's a wrong effect on children. Is that true or not? The Prophet ﷺ seems to have a special, unique, exclusive fragrance in such a way that wherever he is, he can be identified with it. What's the help, therefore? To have fragrance, in fact, Muslim to have a unique, special, exclusive fragrance, therefore. فَقُلْتُ نَعَمْ إِنَّ جَدَّكَ تَحْتَ الْكِسَاءِ. The mother also should be responsive. She should pay attention to the questions of the children. She should not, don't disturb me, go and do your work. Acknowledge, listen, respond, encourage, let him ask, and immediately proceeds towards the cloak, doesn't do anything else. He could have said, oh, he's resting, let me not disturb him. The mother could have said, yes, he's under the kisa, don't disturb him. In both cases, they would have been justified. When the Prophet came, he said, I'm feeling weak. But it seems that weakness was not of a degree and intensity to prevent him from allowing others to come and visit him. And the first duty being to go and greet him and to show respect and reverence and to see what I can do to serve him or to see what I can do to learn from him I cannot engage in any other activity at that time. So أقبل الحسن, Hassan alayhi salam rushes to the grandfather. وقال السلام عليك يا جداه يا رسول الله. Same approach. He could have easily said Salam or Salam grandfather. Salam, my dear grandfather. Salam, O the messenger of God. If somebody occupies a position of authority, acknowledge, affirm, and speak out, declare that status as a matter of respect. So don't miss the opportunity to go towards the higher authority, spiritual authority, to gain from him. One of the ulama has quoted this hadith. He says that من مشى إلى العالم خطوتين وجلس عنده لحظتين وتعلم منه مسألتين وبنى الله له جنتين كل جنة أكبر من الدنيا مرتين. If you come across an alim from whom you can benefit something, every 2 steps you take, you will be rewarded. You go and sit even for 2 moments in his presence to learn, you'll be rewarded. And if you learn from him even 2 mas'ala, you'll be rewarded. In fact, the reward will be so great that you will be granted 2 stations in Jannah. Each station. So he comes to the presence and he says, he doesn't jump into the cloak. Very respectful. Salam, may I seek permission to join you. Is it of no bother to you if I come and associate myself with you? In the Quran, in Surah Nur, Allah says, whenever children come to the private chamber of the parents, they are allowed to do so, but not any time and every time. There are times of the day when they should not be allowed. Night time, Zohar time, when the parents need time for exclusive rest or exclusive privacy, children should not be allowed into that private chamber. And therefore it's very respectful, in fact necessary, to seek permission to gain access to that inner chamber. فَقَالَ, the Holy Prophet responds, وَعَلَيْكَ السَّلَامُ. Again, very respectful. He doesn't say, Salam on you, Hassan, welcome. وَعَلَيْكَ السَّلَامُ يَا وَلَدِي وَيَا صَاحِبَ حَوْضِي. I pray to God that He grants you peace and purity and perfection. I pray that you be close to God, the Salam. Alayka Salam. Oh my dear, beloved, respected, much loved son. Son. But he was the grandson. And then also from the daughter's side. The daughter's son is your son. Not only in the case of the Prophet, in all cases, the grandson should be respected as your own son. وَيَا صَاحِبَ حَوْضِي. And if he has a spiritual status, acknowledge it. How the Qiyamah, we are told, is going to be as long as 1,000 in one ayah, Surah Sajda, or as long as 50,000 years, as in Surah Ma'arij. A very long time period. And it's going to be very hot. And therefore people are going to be thirsty. And therefore people will require to quench their thirst. The hawd is the only source of quenching the thirst. Qanini, sababu in the dunya, the soul was thirsty for truth, for justice, for purity, for piety, for righteousness, for perfection. And there was only one source that could give you something to quench that spiritual thirst. Those of us who seek to quench our spiritual thirst from Hassan and the Prophet and the Ahlul Bayt, therefore will be allowed to go to the hawd and be quenched from that hawd. Incidentally, Imam Hussein alayhi salam later on comes and repeats the same things with the mother, with the grandfather, except for one difference. When he addresses the grandfather, he says, Assalamu alayka ya Jaddah, ya man ikhtarahu Allah. Or the one who has been chosen by God to this ministry. Very important. If you allow me, I want you to think about this statement. Or the one who has been chosen by God. Analyze, study, scrutinize all the problems of the Muslim Ummah. It boils down to one thing. They never accepted that the Prophet is chosen. Salam on you, man ikhtarahu Allah. And of course the Prophet then responds, wa alayka salam ya waladi. But unlike for Imam Hassan, for Imam Hussein, the Prophet says, wa ya shafi'a ummati, or the one who shall intercede for the Ummah. Everyone is going to intercede for the Ummah of the Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam. Lakin, amongst them some will be more than others. Wanini. Sababu shafa'a is the result, it's the fruit. The seed is here. If in the dunya somebody is guided through the Ahlul Bayt, that guidance will appear as shafa'a on the Day of Judgment. The number of people who are guided to the truth, to justice, to fight against oppression, to sympathize with the oppressed, the number of people is most through Imam Hussein Salam. And finally, she enters his presence, and when all of them had assembled and collected, she says the Holy Prophet then lifted up the cloak, and then he covered us, and then he prayed and he pointed to the heavens. And he made a dua whereby he says that Allahumma inna ha'ula'i ahlu bayti. These are the members of my household. According to the riwayah which says that this incident took place in the house of Salam, the incident is that the Holy Lady Fatema brought some food for her father, and then she was invited into the cloak. Salam says that I stood, the Prophet visited my chamber, my house, and he asked me not to allow anyone to enter the house. I want to rest, except if these four people come. You can allow them in. And the Salama narration says, I stood at the door guarding, but I saw something strange. Whenever the Prophet received a gift, food, he would always offer it to me. So when the Holy Lady brought this food to the Prophet, I on my own went and said, I also want something. And the Prophet said, no, this thing is not for you. And when the Prophet lifted up the cloak, she says, because these four people were close to him, I also went and wanted to be included in the cloak. And the Prophet said, no, you stay where you are, don't come near. إِنَّكِ عَلَى خَيْرٍ إِنَّكِ مِنْ أَزْوَاجِ رَسُولِ اللَّهِ. But no, you are not part of this group. Interesting. A third riwayah says, she came and she tried to pop her head into the cloak and the Prophet pushed her out. Whoa. That's a bit rude. No. This is a drama. Allow me to say, the Prophet could have easily declared, you want to know who my Ahlul Bayt is? It's these four people. Why have a cloak and then cover and then exclude dramatically others? Make it absolutely clear. Just because the incident happens in the house of one of the wives of the Prophet, even that wife is not included. Very important. To me, Hadith al-Kisa is drama. It's theater. It's deliberate, planned display and demonstration of exclusivity that only these people are from me. Biologically, no. No. Yes, Fatema is the daughter. Yes, Hassan and Hussein are the grandsons. Yes, Ali is the cousin. Lakini, the Prophet said, I've got no relationship to Abu Lahab, my relative. He's not my blood, but he's not my relative. Ibrahim said, Uncle Azar, I've got nothing to do with him. Bara'ah. No! My son. No, he's not my son. Biological reason they entered into the cloth? Absolutely not. Look at what the Prophet says about them. هؤلاء أهل بيتي وخاصتي وحامتي, to them. Your forgiveness and pardon. Nobody is perfect. In front of God, yes, the Ahlul Bayt related to us are perfect. But related to God, they are defective. غفرانك, O Lord, to the Ahlul Bayt. وَرِضْوَانَك, and the highest anyone can aspire for, and that is the ultimate pleasure of God. عَلَيَّ وَعَلَيْهِمْ وَأَذْهِبْ عَنْهُمُ الرِّجْسَ وَطَهِّرْهُمْ تَطْهِيرًا. I would like to conclude by 2 points. The next part of the hadith then says that when the Prophet made this dua, immediately it was answered. فَقَالَ اللَّهُ عَزَّ وَجَلَّ يَا مَلَائِكَتِي وَسُكَّانَ سَمَاوَاتِي. And then that whole story. I did not create the heavens and the earth and the sun and the moon and the different celestial objects in orbit. I didn't create any of them but in the love of these 5. Who are these 5? The Prophet and his daughter and his 2 grandsons and his son-in-law and cousin. No. Who is there under there? It's Ali and his father-in-law and his wife and his 2 children. No. Who is down there? Hassan and Hussein, their grandfather, their father and their mother. No. They are being all introduced as relations of the Holy Lady. Qanini, each one of them has got a special status because of her. Point number 1. Point number 2, how and why, inshallah, we have to discuss on some other occasion. But for example, the father, she is introduced as Ummu Abiha. The father, as if she is the mother to her father. The husband introduced as the one who will not have a peer and a match and an equal had it not been involved with them. The sons, obviously, they are nothing had it not been for her. And of course, all the progeny from Imam Hussein alayhi salam's descendants. But point number 2, I would like to remind ourselves, and that is, Allah is proud to say that I have created the whole of the universe in love of these 5. In the Quran, 4 reasons are given for why Allah creates. Allah creates to test us, Surah Mulk, to see who is the best, who is more pious, who is more righteous, who is more good, who is more pure, who is more virtuous, who is more sacrificing. Allah creates so that we may know Him, Surah Viladat, Ayah 12. Allah creates so that we may worship Him, Surah Zariyat. Allah creates us so that He may have mercy as a reward for our worship, Surah Hud. Synthesize all these 4, and you discover that these 5 people achieved the goal of perfection to the ultimate level. Test, they gave the ultimate test beyond which not possible for any human being. Purpose of creation is to know God. Nobody knew God better than them. Produce any sermon to equal that of Ali ibn Abi Talib in 5 years. Produce anything which those 5 years are an expansion of the summary version which the Holy Lady presented in the Mosque of the Prophet. Purpose of creation is to worship God. Nobody worships God better than them. Purpose of God is to be able to qualify, to deserve, to receive His special reward and mercy and grace. Nobody received greater reward and support and mercy other than these 5. Conclusion. Whether we like it or not, whether we know it or not, every day in the Salah, we reiterate the message of Hadith al-Tisa. Qanini. No Salah is complete without tashahhud. And no tashahhud is complete without the shahada on the status of the Prophet. Ashhadu anna Muhammadan عبده ورسوله. But when you say Rasul, these are لحمهم لحمي دمهم دمي يكلمهم ما يكلمهم. They are his flesh and blood. Even if you don't mention them, they are already mentioned. The moment you mention the Prophet, you mention all these extensions of flesh and blood, number one. And number two, the fact that after tashahhud we send salawat. There is no salah without salawat. Imam Shafi'i says, Ya ahla bayt Rasulillahi hubbukumu fardun min Allahi fil Qur'ani anzalahu. To love you is a duty and a commandment revealed in the Quran. كَفَاكُمْ مِنْ عَظِيمِ الْقَدْرِ أَنَّكُمُ. Enough for your status is that you, مَنْ لَمْ يُصَلِّ عَلَيْكُمْ لَا صَلَاةَ لَهُ. Whosoever does not send salawat on you, his salah is incomplete. Qanini. وَسَلَاتُ الصَّلَاةِ means, oh Lord, I thank you for all the bounties. Which bounty is greater, more effective, more productive in guiding us, in saving us, in protecting us from the fire of hell, in showing us the right way in all aspects of our lives, more than the path of the Ahlul Bayt alayhimus salam.